Hey, what's up ladies and gentlemen? It is I'm the one and only Mr. Duffy Duck here, and I'm back for some more yet again for the likes of the Maxi Toys videos. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of Team Sonic Racing for both the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, and of course PC Steam. So last time we have basically just managed to accomplish the final mission in terms of Chapter 6. And overall, we did manage to accomplish that within the 2 attempts. Like, one time I failed, and then the other attempt I succeed. So, and also we did manage to completely done with 7 challenges in Chapter 7, in this case the final showdown. And today, this is going to be the grand finale in terms of Team Adventure mode at least. And because of this though, we're going to be focusing on the final 5 missions. So, to begin with, let's head over to the another showdown race, and this time we can able to actually go on to the Dark Arsenal track, which, again, if you're following through our Let's Play of Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing before, this is also another one of those tracks will make a comeback, which I'm very grateful that track will obviously make its return, except the fact that it makes everything else a lot more gorgeous than in forms of how it does it from the original counterparts, because you know, new generation of consoles in mind, but either way though, let's go ahead and use Vector the Crocodile.
Let me guess, we don't have enough energy.
This is why you always fail. You do not have the patience to wait for perfection. It is very close. One more race should do it.
One more race, you say?
Enough of your games, Doctor. Send out the Donpa, or we'll come in there and get him.
One more race. This is for all the marbles.
This is like the 3rd race for all the marbles.
True, but this time you're racing me.
Okay, so let's get started in terms of Dark Arsenal racetrack, and what I can gather is the fact that it might play out exactly like the forms of how it does in the original counterpart ever since in obviously Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing, except the fact that the biggest difference is now that they actually add a bit of a change to the table, specifically whenever you're trying to pull off a shortcut, and also because the forms of that particular familiar defect robot, as you saw from the likes of Sonic Forces, you can now able to actually just well, we'll show it off as soon as we're able to actually just to show this off, but from now on though, I think the actual remake's music in the background was actually based off from Sonic Adventure, specifically in Final Egg, so, at least to be more specifically in the Sonic segment, so, because obviously we had the Final Fortress remakes in specifically in Turbine Loop, and now we actually have ourselves the music that's been remixed in Sonic Adventure, so specifically in Dark Arsenal. So yeah, that's actually a pretty cool track, even though the actual track itself might actually be very simple for the most part. It's almost like the well, it almost kind of reminds me of that particular track within, like, I don't know, it's hard to explain about this sometimes, because I know for the fact that, well, it has been a very long time since I actually managed to experience this track since the original Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing, so, and, as a matter of fact, though, is the fact that, well, there's not much else to talk about. Although, there's actually quite a number of things that I could possibly would like to mention for the sake of the forms of today's video. Recently, obviously, today's day is, of course, the 19th of November today, in this case in 2020. A few things has been happening. First of all, sorry, I can't really speak today for this point, folks. The Horror Warriors Age of Calamity is going to be releasing tomorrow for everywhere else, so I'm really looking forward to actually just to try out that game. And by the way, this is the shortcut I was talking about. The biggest differences from there is that you no longer need some speed sneakers or speed shoes in order to actually go for that specific shortcut. Because obviously, thanks to the forms of those particular bounce pads, will allow you to actually go ahead and actually access to shortcuts instantly now. However, here's the catch though, is the fact that you need to be very careful for this point, especially because eventually at this point is the fact that the actual defect robot managed to actually start to fuse the actual boosters, or in this case flame boosters, will start to able to show up, and if I manage to get hit by those flame boosters, I will fall off and respawn into the normal points. Because of this though, you have to be very careful around here, especially because, again, if you really want to able to win this entire race, especially with the team aspect, well, you just got to make sure you need to be super perfect at it, because, well, you guys should probably already know what I'm talking about here. So, anyway, another thing I just want to explain is the fact that, well, happy, well, 10-year anniversary in terms of the films of the release of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1. Jeez, I can't even believe that particular film has been out for about the entire decade old now. Which, again, because the time flies and all that stuff though, so what you expected in terms of, how the hell? Stupid Metal Sonic and Zarbok. But it doesn't matter, because hopefully we can able to actually expand our team altering right here, so hopefully we should be able to actually decide to catch up to those two right here. In fact, they're in the lead at the moment right now, and hopefully I'm also able to try to get some more stars here and there. In fact, relatively speaking for those stars, actually, one thing I totally forgot to mention ever since in the last video, apparently though, we actually reached a certain amount of stars in order to able to actually go ahead and well, just trying to showcase all of the missions throughout the whole game, specifically in the final chapter, which is of course chapter 7. And because of this though, at least I don't have to worry about just trying to able to actually grind for some more, you know, stars until whenever we are able to actually do some more missions here and there. So at least we'll be fine as long as we would like to show you guys the actual proper winning stuff. So, because that's the thing I always like to able to actually show you guys about this properly. So, anyway though, yeah, it was quite surprising about the fact that the Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1 has been turned into about a decade old, which I can't even believe time still flies, doesn't it? Although, it's already gets to the point until next year that the Deathly Hallows Part 2 will be eventually going to be also a decade old, until specifically in 2021, in sometime in summer, at least as far as I'm usually trying to record that correctly. But still, it has been a while since I actually watched some of those Harry Potter films, basically. So, anywho, so now we've actually won the race. So, yeah, all's well and ends well, right? Well, for the most part, anyway.
That better have been worth it. I looked like a fool out there.
Oh, don't feel bad, boss. You look like a fool in here, too.
Okay, so now we're done with that particular race, and it looks like this will lead us to the final mission. But we'll save that for later, because otherwise we'll come back for that later. And let's head over to the next challenge, which in this case we are doing another showdown race, except the fact that, well, we're going to be racing on the exact same track as from before, like specifically Dark Arsenal, except now it's going to be mirrored. So, yeah, hopefully we should be able to actually just get a move on, basically. And as you can see, I'm going to be playing as Knuckles on this particular race. And I should probably say this right now, I think I should probably save Sonic until for last, because he's obviously the main character of the whole entire game, so... But anyway though, another thing I should want to explain about this too, is the fact that recently, during the films of 2 days ago, is the fact that recently that the Tom and Jerry the Movie 2021 variation got itself its new trailer. And what I've seen the trailer, it's very promising. Like, obviously, the only positive thing about this is that well, Tom and Jerry does not talk about, does not speak in the film, which is a huge plus, because I will certainly guarantee this will be a hell of a lot more better than the films of how it does it on the 1992 film, because good lord, whatever happened to them? Like, literally, I think that little dog character, whatever the hell that name is, they managed to ruin everything. Like, literally, they just say, like, well, hey, speak up, before the film itself can go absolutely failure. Oh, jeez, I can't bear it. But anyway, though, and, it's going to be releasing until at some point in 2021, obviously. And as far as I can gather, it might able to release it on the 5th of March during next year. So, yeah, that should be very promising enough. And despite the fact that I'm not exactly sure if I was gonna able to see it yet, until eventually when the reviewers might able to actually think about the actual overall criticism about it. But we'll see what happens until whenever we get on to 2021. But it's very promising, as I said. But usually, relatively speaking, until at some point next year, I will still be hyped for about, not only in terms of, you know, No Time to Die, in this case the final film of the Daniel Craig James Bond series, and it's also Fast 9, in this case F9 for short. You know, with the Fast and Furious series and all that stuff though. I'm not exactly sure of how that film's gonna play out, but either way though, I'm very curious to check it out, especially noticeable when we get to next year. We will definitely gonna be able to be super hyped about those. And especially noticeable that we might be curious to see what the second My Little Pony movie is all about as well. Until eventually next year as well. But then again though, we'll see what happens until we eventually get into next year. But we still ended up in the forms of the most lackluster 2020 year so far. Well, aside from the fact that, well, usually relatively speaking, that we're almost nearly at the end of November so far. So, I suppose another thing I should probably explain about this too is the fact that, also during that time, is the fact that also in 2 days ago, is the fact that we actually get ourselves huge emphasis on Mario news. Specifically, first off is of course the new update for, or the new version update for Super Mario 3D All-Stars. Specifically, yeah, that's what happens right there. If you somehow touch the actual fire boosters, you will never gonna make it. So, just want to classify that. So, that was my fault. Anyway, for the version of the new version update for Super Mario 3D All-Stars, that, first of all, is that, well, they're only most likely focusing on Super Mario Sunshine, most likely. Whilst, originally, it was supposed to be able to actually add in an extra game, which is, of course, Super Mario Galaxy 2, but, of course, much like in any other nutshell videos out there, it may think that Galaxy 2 doesn't exist or something, which is kind of a shame, honestly, because I really love to able to see that make a comeback, but on the Nintendo Switch. But either way, though, it's not the end of the world, because the good news about the actual version, the latest version update for the Super Mario 3D All-Stars in Super Mario Sunshine game, you can now finally play the actual GameCube controller for once. So meaning about the fact that you don't have to worry about the clickable analog stick, you know, with the right analog stick to go for, like, the first person view. But even then though, because now you can just simply just press the Y button, and for Life Can Gather, it plays exactly like the original. So yeah, that's actually pretty cool and pretty swell at the same time. So if eventually, whenever we get on to next summer, I can definitely go back into Mario Sunshine, and hopefully I'll test it out with a different controller, which is of course the GameCube controller. And that way I can able to play that game again on the, well, on a Nintendo Switch, of course, but this time with a different controller as opposed to the Pro controller. So, and hopefully I should able to actually have ourselves a really wonderful time on that particular game again. At least in the HD version anyway. So, another noticeable thing they actually did manage to fix is the fact that, well, the first thing they did manage to fix is, of course, well, obviously, aside from the fact that, well, usually it did manage to fix the actual control options and all that stuff, though, ever since in about a few days ago, actually. But there's also another thing they did manage to recently fix, and that is the forms of, well, you know what this very out of place, 4.3 ratio, resolution? Whenever you go into underwater, when you swim underwater, whenever you use the actual turbo nozzle equipped, usually if you try to use that while you're in underwater in the previous update, basically it's the fact that the actual 4.3 ratio gets a bit out of place. But thankfully it's been fixed in the actual recent update. So it's going to be 16.9 widescreen support the whole entire time. So at least I'm very glad that was the case. And it's no longer become very ugly looking compared to the forms of how it does on the, you know, the previous update, as I established that before. And another thing they actually did fix is the, of course, well, if you're trying to able to actually look up on the map screen or something like that, normally in the previous update is the fact that, I swear, the actual frame rate just chugs every time whenever you get into the actual map screen. But thankfully, in the latest update, which is specifically in 2 days ago, thankfully it's now been much more smoother, and of course there is no lag on it whatsoever. So at least I'm glad that was the case right there, because either way though, they almost plays exactly like the original. So yeah, that seems pretty cool stuff. And also another thing they actually did manage to fix is the fact that they no longer have themselves the actual debug cubes as you normally go through the secret of the Dirty Lake. You know, with that particular obstacle course in Mission 6 in Bianco Hills. Normally in the previous update, for whatever reason they show us the actual develops cubes, which usually represents when these platforms are start moving. Well, that's no longer the case in the recent update now. So because of this though, maybe it's because of I never actually used the emulator as much in comparison to the forms of the actual physical release of Super Mario Sunshine game. But at least I'm very glad that, usually relatively speaking, because I'm just not a big fan of these particular grey looking cubes that just showed up. And I suppose the final thing they did manage to fix is the fact that they now finally able to actually get ourselves a correct sound effect if you manage to able to start the race, specifically racing against with Pantalumsino. I can't really pronounce his name very well, I do apologize for that. And also the blooper surfing mission in Recco Harbor. And because of this though, rather than just having ourselves these sensor sound effects goes like, ooh, but now it just goes like the actual, the regular jingle, as you remember from the original game, starting like, ooh, just like that. So yeah, that's a remarkable fixable replacement. So yeah, at least I'm very happy about this, because even then though, it actually plays out very much like the original game. Except with the higher resolution, while usually it's a massive upgrade compared to the forms of the original though. And also at the same time is the fact that, well, you can able to play on the go. Even though despite the fact that I'm still pretty much going to be using the actual GameCube controller adapter, just trying to able to actually just to play the game normally on TV mode. So yeah, that's that. And I suppose another thing I should probably explain about this too is the fact that the LEGO Super Mario set has been somehow continuing its lifespan, which this time around they now added in some more sets. For instance, for example, there is the Maker set, which this obviously contains quite a number of items. There is the question mark kind of block, which I think that could be representing the actual customizable block, which usually, relatively speaking, although I'll get into more details about this later, they also include Larry O. Cooper, or Larry Cooper, if you would prefer calling him that. And there's also the very peculiar yellow pipe, which if you try to able to scan Lego Mario during that particular yellow pipe, this allows him, or Mario, to start the actual course within 30 seconds, which is a bit more of a less time compared to the forms of how it does it in the green pipe. And I think the jingle itself is also pretty different as well, which I think normally in the green pipe, you obviously get yourselves the, you know, traditional Super Mario Bros. World 1-1 overworld theme music, whilst now, on the 30 seconds pipe, I think the actual theme represents Slide Theme from Super Mario 64. But anyways, we'll talk more about it until later, because for now, here we go on to the final mission in the whole entire game in Team Adventure mode. And as always, we'll select Sonic, but before we get onto that, I think I highly recommend using the Team Ultimate Extended item, because that way, it makes the race a little bit more easier for you.
I could really use some good news right about now.
Ho, 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 ho! Good news, person who kidnapped me. Sufficient energy has been accumulated. My ultimate energy engine is complete. This invention will usher in a new era of prosperity and cooperation throughout the...
I'll take that engine, old fool, and I'm gonna use it in my monster machine to crush Sonic.
So much for cooperation.
My engine! He stole it.
What a surprise. Come on, everybody. Let's go get that engine back and wreck Eggman's plan.
It's about time.
So here we go, folks, on to the final track in the whole entire game, and this is another one of those Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing returning tracks, which this time we ended up in Thunder Deck, based off from, of course, the final course on that game, Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing. So, seems pretty cool though, to able to actually now finally... Oh, goodness gracious me.
I'll be invincible.
It looks like that Dr. Eggman has been changed significantly now, because I'm pretty sure he's going to be using himself, the actual Death Egg robot, as in the actual racer, so that seems an interesting start. But either way though, let's get on to this. And obviously that, oh man, the visuals do look really, really gorgeous this time around, especially because of how the fact that this is on the PlayStation 4, Nintendo Switch, and especially noticeable for the Xbox One and PC Steam. Even though despite the fact that the PC Steam version already got Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing back in 2010, that is. It also same applies to All-Stars Racing Transformed. But usually, relatively speaking, I'm very glad that that particular track makes its return here. Especially noticeable because, you know, relatively speaking, it just managed to add something new to the table, specifically with that particular jump thing on the actual center of that particular segment over there. So, but either way though, we can able to actually just to consider that, so... And also, as far as I've noticed something, is the fact that the actual background theme for this particular stage, I think it was actually based off from, well, let's just say Egg Fleet from the likes of Sonic Heroes remix or something like that. But then again though, it has been a really, really long time since I actually experienced this particular track. Ever since in the original Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing, since, 2017, whenever we did manage to did that Let's Play back then. So, but either way though, I have no comments on it whatsoever, so I must admit that I apologize for that, so... But anyway though, let's go ahead and place the black wisp bombs behind us, so that way we can able to actually just try to stop one of those Team Eggman members, and also at the same time, those egg pawns, so that way we can able to, you know, still destroy them if we manage to run into them. So, but either way though, we can able to actually just try to consider that, so... Anyway, what I'm trying to say, oh yeah, in terms of more sets, in terms of Lego Super Mario sets, they obviously announced recently. Also another thing is the fact that they actually, you know, includes more power-ups. Like, they only bring 2 of them this time around, as opposed to, like, 4 last time, which, previously we had, Fire Mario, Propeller Mario, and especially noticeable with, Builder Mario, essentially. And, I think that's about it. Oh wait, there's only, like, 3 power-ups, I'm assuming, last time, so it's only, like, 2 this time. And those are oh wait, there's, the Cat Mario. I forgot about the Cat Mario power-up. Oh jeez, what am I doing? Anyway, and also the Builder Mario from the Mario Maker games, so... Anyway, so the 2 power-ups is going to be coming in, I would say in 2021, actually. Those are Pink Whip Mario, which, much like in New Super Mario Bros. Wii / New Super Mario Bros. U, if you're trying to able to, like, press the down directional pad, basically it just allows, Penguin Mario to slide, unless if you manage to, walk on ice and stuff like that, so... And also, they bring back the forms of the Tanuki Mario power-up, which I will say, it does look really, really, cool, in my honest opinion, because otherwise, that Tanuki itself is, like, a very cool power-up indeed, back in the forms of in Super Mario Bros. 3. So, and also in addition to those, we also managed to get ourselves even more character packs, such as, Parabeetles, as well as, Ninjapes, and also same applies to Tiny Flumps and Paragliding Goomba Fly Guys, essentially. Bony Beetle, and to top it all off, we got ourselves everyone's worst power-up in the whole entire game, the Poison Mushroom. Oh boy, the Poison Mushroom is back, but except he's actually become a Lego form. But apart from the fact that, well, it'll basically just do nothing, because, well, unlike in, you know, the previous 2D Mario games, including Super Mario 3D Land, basically they'll just able to chase you around, but that doesn't seem the case here. Well, unless if you somehow almost activated it from that particular customizable block thing, which, again, I'll talk more about it in the future, because for now, we have managed to win the final race in terms of Team Adventure mode. And I'm gonna say, that was actually a pretty interesting ride, despite there's gonna be some, annoying hazards like those lasers that just managed to actually just zap me for no other reason. But, apart from those side of things though, we did manage to succeed. And let's check out the final results here, and of course we have dominated it. So, anyways, let's watch the ending to Team Sonic Racing for the PS4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, and PC Steam.
Blast you, Sonic! I'll get you this time with my super-powered monster machine and smash your puny car into smithereens!
Hey, boss?
What is it?
About that monster machine? It's gone crazy, and it's headed for the energy core.
What? We're doomed! Without the energy core, this airship is going to fall out of the sky! We gotta get out of here!
Yes, sir.
Wait for me!
Bad news, Sonic! With the fortress's crash, this airship is gonna fall out of the sky!
What? Tails, we've gotta go save Dodonpaw! Tails, Silver, Rouge, Chow. Grab the guys who can't fly and get out of here!
Okay, but what about the cars?
We gotta take care of our friends first!
Got it. Leave it to us.
Can't have you guys be the heroes without me. We're a team, right?
Knuckles.
That's right! We'll use our teamwork to save Dodonpaw!
Aw, you guys got me. All right, let's go save him!
I hope Sonic and everybody escaped in time.
I wouldn't worry about them.
Hey guys, sorry about the wait.
Ho, 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 ho! It was quite the close call.
But all the race cars were lost in the explosion. I guess the race is over now.
Ho, 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 ho! Do not fret, younglings. To show my gratitude for saving my life, let me give you all new race cars.
Really? So we can all race together then?
Exactly. I look forward to seeing everyone's competitive spirits in action again.
All right, now that we got that settled, let's get this race started. Yeah!
Yeah, the ending itself is a bit simple for the most part. I mean, don't get me wrong, it is an alright ending. So, anyways, I was able to actually discuss on you guys about the fact that what's my final thoughts of Team Sonic Racing as far as the actual, the third Sonic game being made by Sumo Digital as far as I'm aware. But I will say this right now, this is one of my, after when I played Transforms, which I still managed to enjoy even to that specific day, I will have to say, I have to be honest here, this is one of the weakest ones in my opinion in terms of Sumo Digital Sonic Racing games. Although don't get me wrong, the game itself looks absolutely gorgeous, especially because if you ever play this on the PlayStation 4, or especially noticeable with the Xbox One, and despite Nintendo Switch does have its you know, frames per second as being like significantly lower in comparison to the PS4 version as well as the rest of the other versions. But and also the soundtrack is actually pretty unique as well, especially because, well, it might be usually some of these themes come from the previous games, but at least thankfully they did manage to remix them. So even then though, at least I'm very glad mostly music I actually do seem to recognize, that I seem to able to actually enjoy listening to them. And the gameplay itself, while it's fine for the most part, it's just that the team aspect kind of feels a bit weird to get used to. But apart from those aside things though, this is still the exact same game as the forms of how it does it on the previous 2 games, or to be more specifically, Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed, aside from likely taking away, 3 different types of driving, like you can drive on the ground, on the sea, and up in the air kind of scenario, like that particular caption, but it's alright I suppose. And also that the story itself feels a bit simple. Well, nowhere near as like dark or serious than the forms of how it does it back in the dark age of Sonic, from 2005 all the way up to, let's just say, in 2008, as far as I'm aware. By the way, for this particular main theme, Green Light Ride, from the likes of Crush 40, a really great song. I'm very glad that Crush 40 does make a comeback from the likes of making some really cool Sonic soundtracks ever since in Sonic Adventure, Sonic Adventure 2, Sonic Heroes, and also Shadow the Hedgehog, but I'm not exactly 100% sure on that, because I know for the fact that it has been a really long while since I actually did manage to look upon certain soundtracks from the likes of some of these other Sonic games, of course. Oh wait, there's also the ones in Sonic 06 with Crush 40's version of All Hail Shadow, Heroes Rise Again. Yeah, that particular variation of Crush 40 version of All Hail Shadow, easily the best theme. But anyway though, aside from all that stuff though, controls-wise, I did have an okay experiences all in all. I mean, sure, I'm pretty much used to with the forms of the previous 2 games on the Xbox 360 version, despite the fact that I still haven't got myself my Xbox One version of this game because, well, I still find Xbox One name to be super dumb in my opinion. But apart from those aside things though, definitely is one of my least favorites in terms of Sonic racing games by Sumo Digital. But that's not to say the game is bad, it's just that I'm just slightly disappointed. Well, nowhere near as like extremely disappointed compared to the forms of how it does it on Sonic Forces, which is the more of the recent platforming Sonic game that we actually got. Well, aside from the DLC expansion from Sonic Mania from Sonic Mania Plus. But at least I can go back into Sonic Mania Plus any day compared to this. Now, I certainly will able to actually give this game some credit for compared to Sonic Forces, because, you know, most of the levels on Sonic Forces is way shallower. But anyway though, enough about that. So once we sit for those little particular credits thing going on right here, which by the way, you can able to take control of the actual credit sequence by the way, like use the control stick up and down to speed it up or slow it down a little bit. So it's one classified that. And we've defeated Dr. Eggman and saved the Dumper. And of course we got ourselves 3 stars. Sadly we didn't get the key because I'm pretty sure you need to able to destroy a lot more of those egg ponds in order to able to deal with that. In addition to those, we also managed to unlock Dark Arsenal, Thunder Deck, and Turbine Loop. So yeah, that seems pretty awesome because you can now able to race those at any time. Journey forms of free race play. So even I know, yeah, that's as far as I can say about this. And I'm afraid to tell you, it's the fact that we got the endings off at this point right here. So join us next time for more of Let's Play of Team Sonic Racing. Is the fact that we're about to be getting things started in terms of Grand Prix mode. However though, it's not going to be that exciting compared to the forms of the previous games. I will tell you this right now, but I'll see you guys until on Tuesday. Later fellas.